solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence I shall give before the committee and all the documents that I will present before the committee shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Neuro-Psychiatric Hospital, Benin City, can we have you please make your presentation the next 5 minutes before we begin the engagement with you?
But if you go to page 2, sir, you will find a breakdown of page number 2. So, according to the template that was given, you will find that what we've done is for each of the jobs, we had a breakdown according to the contractors. So if you go to page number 2, you have the isolation center. Here we have Centron Davis, Nigeria Limited, and the jobs done for isolation center.
Did you make payment to any of the contractors?
We made payment, sir.
There is no evidence in the whole of the submission. No voucher to indicate you have made payment in this payment. That's my question.
Take note of the questions. Take note of the questions. Engineer.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think this one is straightforward. People will say Benin no they carry last, they no argue. They say Benin no, Edo people know they carry last. Madam, your own information here is just very straightforward. You've just told us that you collected, you received almost 1 billion naira,
Yes, sir.
and you just gave it to one contractor.
No, sir. It's not one
It's major. The major sum was to a contractor. The major of the 9 point something is to this your Zagreb, Zetron, Davis, something. Right.
No,
And yes, and I'm saying I'm not. It's not a quarrel, sir.
I know. I know.
Right. The Benin chief that is here, aside being our colleague, is also the one leading my corner in the chambers. Right. So I want to say that all these things that you have provided for us, if the chairman so rules, right, the document here is just flimsy. It has nothing to back any of the things that you provided here up. And I feel you should go back, have receipts, have things that it's only what you received and voucher from your own hospital that you have there. No. Right? Contract, award, date, every of those things need to be added to your document. Thank you, sir.
Contract award.
Take note of the observations and questions, my leader, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to take you to page 126. Page 126, the second to the last column, says that the total payment made to contractors amounted to 879,585,486. If you deduct that from the 949 million that you received, there's a balance of about 69 million, 69.6 million. If you go to your page 1, so my question is, where is 69 million naira.
Yes, Chairman, sir. Those the difference is
No, just take notes.
Okay.
Just take notes. Where's 69? Number. You want me to off my mic? Oh, for it. Okay.
The honorable members, sir.
Madam, just wait. See.
Are you the DFA?
There are two major contracts that I want us to talk about here. The one you awarded to Zetron Davis Nigeria Limited to the tune of 331 million. And then the one you awarded to Sudabelt Medical Company Limited for the sum of 343 million. I've looked through your documents here. I couldn't find, because I noticed that this is absolutely above your threshold approval. So, and I've looked through your document, I can't find any ministerial approval here or fake approval. I can't find. Maybe you can refer me to the approval if you have it. Thank you.
We'll take last question in this category. They will respond. They will come back again. Basi?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think my question also is in line with what Honorable Kuye just said now. Are you aware of the importance of tender board in awarding of contracts? If you are aware of that and the importance of tender board, that no contract should be awarded without the sitting of the tender board, in all these documents submitted to us, there's no evidence that the tender boards they made and before awarding the contract. The only thing we see in this document is the letter of award. Also provide information on that one also. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Basi?
Since you did, as a follow-up to a few questions that has to do with the procurement document, since you didn't furnish us with those documents, is there any way you can take us through how you procured these services? Thank you.
With your due permission, I will respond to the general questions. Then the one that the procurement officer and the DFA can give some details, the one I can't. Number one, maybe I should start from the last one. Then it may explain the first one. Now, as at 2020, we had a situation in the country, and the circular was released from BPP regarding procurement. Number one, there was restriction on gathering, so we couldn't do usual bidding. So restricted tendering was adopted, which is part of the emergency procurement. And part of the provision is that when you have done the processes of emergency procurement, then all the documentation, you go back to BPP. First of all, you get a letter of no objection to procure on emergency basis. Then you go back to procurement, to BPP, to get a letter, the final certificate of no objection, before it is packaged to Ministerial Tenders Board or FEC, depending on the amount. So that is what we did at that time, to answer this last question. So the procedures for that, for example, for DCL, which is the last one here, which is actually, before that, sir, let me make a correction. The figure 343 for Sudabelt is actually for DCL and vice versa, please. It was when we were doing it, we had an error. The 64 million, that's on page 126, 64,857,200 is for Sudabelt, while the 343,129,366 is for DCL, for molecular laboratory. So for the DCL, for example, we have the certificate already from BPP of no objection, completing the act. So we were waiting for the others so that we can now push this to the Ministerial Tenders Board. So that's the process we are at now. Then secondly, sir, as per the Tenders Board, we met on most of this. Unfortunately, we didn't
MD,
attach. Yes.
that aspect, take it again.
Which one?
The one you're mentioning, the issue of tenders certificate.
Restricted tendering?
Yes.
Okay. You know, in 2020, the epidemic was on. So there was restricted movement and there was restricted gathering of people. So we couldn't do, otherwise, normally we are supposed to advertise after 6 weeks, then the bidders come. So emergency procurement was adopted across board. And the emergency procurement, the way it works is this. You write to BPP for a letter of no objection to adopt the restricted tendering, which we did. So they gave us that letter of no objection. Based on that, the number of the country, we don't have that document because it wasn't, okay, sir. Okay, okay. We are sorry about that, sir. Okay.
Sir, the BPP does not give a blanket letter. They don't give you a blanket letter. You write to the BPP saying you want to request that you want to give A, B, C, D this contract,
yes,
and this contract sum, and this contract this. They will respond to you stating each thing. So they don't give you blankets to come back and do what you need to do.
That's what they did, sir. That's what they did, sir.
They gave you blankets?
No, we wrote to them. First of all, you know, you will send a list of contractors. They will screen and tell you the ones you can award this contract to. So these were the contractors, about 5 of them, 5 or so. So those were the ones we awarded. Now, another thing, sir, if you permit me to say, that period, we had a problem. The problem was that many of these items to be procured were not available. All the hospitals, 50-something, were gunning for the same things. And we had a lot of restrictions. That's why you will see, if you look at the difference in time between some of the awards and some of the payments, it was drawn out from 2000 to 2001, because some of them, the contractors will tell you that the Chinese had closed down, so there were no supplies. And that also affected some of the rates and prices. So I just said, let me quickly say that. So these are some of the challenges we had at that time. And if you look at these contracts, though it looks, because to answer one of the questions about whether Zetron was awarded all the contracts, in actual fact, sir, for each one, if you look at the isolation center, if you look at page 2, page 3, and 4, you may find that we listed Zetron Davis for isolation center. Then they were also there in intensive care. At the same time, we also had PPE. Then if you go to the page for Ajibo 67, you'll find that they also featured in isolation, and because we had to resort to now, because some of them don't have the OEM, because that's another PPP requirement, that you must give the contract to those who have the OEM, or else you also fall foul of the law. So we had to now look at those who had the OEM, for example, for, let's say, ventilator, and then some of them don't have the OEM, say, for, let's say, X-ray machines. So, so that's why we were able to streamline it according to those with OEM.
Please, sir, can you let us know what OEM means, please?
Original equipment manufacturer.
Okay, thank you.
69 million went to taxes. Most of them are medical equipment, so 6%, 5% withholding tax, 1% stamp duty. We have the soft copy. If I don't know, but we didn't know because the template didn't. We have the soft copy, sir.
Soft copy?
Yes.
Why? You're supposed to attach evidence. Well, yes, some of you, we know that you do some online remittances, but you're supposed to print and attach. And we also discover,
it's
like,
about 48 pages. So
excuse me.
Yes.
We also realize that, like the point somebody raised, no payment vouchers to show these deductions of relevant taxes.
It's in the mandate, sir.
But it's not here.
I know. That's what we apologized for earlier. But we do have it in the soft copy. But we want to apologize to this honorable house that we had constraints.
Distinguished colleagues,
Chief Dr. Billy Famous Adesuwa Sawaro is the name. I represent the good people of Oriomo Ode Federal Constituency. I'm a proud Benin chief from Edo State. Yes, it's not an appeal, but just an observation. You did say you were still waiting for FEC approval, is that correct?
No, sir. I said we were waiting to have the complete certificates so that we can forward it to the Ministerial Tenders Board.
After the job has been done?
Yes, that's what for restricted, for emergency procurement, that's what happens, sir.
Okay, good. So you have all your waivers, everything taken care of?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so do you have them here?
No, sir, that's what we were.
Okay.
You know, I mentioned some.
2023.
Yes, sir. The processes can be a bit slow. It can be back and forth. And, you know, all the hospitals, not just hospitals, all NDAs who procured that period had to pass through the same procedure. So it's a bit slow.
Mr.
Yes,
Chair, I will propose maybe take a new date to furnish us with those information. Thank you. I so moved.
The chairman of committee, it's very clear. It's very clear that there's a lot of gaps in terms of documentation, in terms of evidence that is required for this committee to really deal with this issue. I move to second. I so second. Thank you.
Yeah.
What? We have a motion. Motion has been moved. Motion has been seconded. I want to rule. All right. Honorable colleagues, Federal Neuro-Psychiatric Hospital, Benin. It is very clear that your submissions are not complete. This honorable committee requires that you submit complete documentations in respect to our investigations on or before Tuesday next week, 10 a.m. Is that okay?
Activation accreditation for our molecular lab, which was supposed to happen today, but we had to move because of this. So if the Honorable House will please allow so that we can have it, if possible, the other week or the end of next week, or let's say Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week, so that we'll put all these things together, sir.
Thursday, DFA and other MD, Thursday next week. Thursday next week, furnish this honorable committee with the relevant document to make your submission complete.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Federal Medical Center, Benin Kebbi.
FMC, bring Kebbi. Then can the man...